Hello, in this video we will show how you can deposit your thesis, dissertation, or project report in Scholar at UPRM, which is our campus's institutional repository. The first thing we have to do is access the repository, so I just typed Scholar UPRM into the search box. And the first option I get is UPRM repository, so I'm just going to click there. Once I see this screen, I know that I have access to the repository. Just so you know, the URL for the repository is scholar.uprm.edu. The first thing we need to do is go to the right side of the screen and click Login. And this is where I'm going to enter my UPR account information. So I already logged in. You can see my name up here. And now I'm going to move to the right to Menu. So I'm going to click there and open the menu, and I'm going to scroll down and click on Submissions. And now I'm going to move to the left side and click on Start a New Submission. Now we're going to choose a collection to submit to. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Select a Collection menu. And you won't necessarily see all of these options, but the one you need to have is Thesis and Dissertations. So I'm going to choose Thesis and Dissertations, and I'm going to click Next. This is where you're going to start entering the information of your document. And the first thing you have to enter is the title of your thesis, dissertation, or project report. And as you can see, there are some directions on how you have to enter the title. You should only use capital letters at the beginning of the title and the subtitle if there is one. Also for proper names, geographic names, acronyms, abbreviations, and symbols. And if there is a subtitle, separate it from the main title using a colon. In addition to this, if there happens to be a formula in your title, do your best to represent it as accurately as you can. So I've entered the title of my fictional thesis, and as you can see, it's in Spanish. And we can see a couple of details here. The first letter of the title is capitalized. Also, the first letter of the subtitle is capitalized, and the subtitle is separated from the main title using a colon. And also, the term Puerto Rico is capitalized. And so we have complied with the directions on how to enter the title correctly. So the next field is Other Titles. If I had included a version of my title in another language in my document, that second version would go in the field Other Titles. So for example, an English version of my title would go there. So the next field is Author. That's where your name would go. I've entered my name, and I've inserted a hyphen between my two last names. That's how they should go. And over here, I've included my first name and my initial. The next field is for the name of your advisor. Once again, I've hyphenated the last names, and I entered the first name. It is important that you enter this name as it appears in the document, but always hyphenating the last names. The next field is Committee Members, and in this field you will enter the names of the members of your committee one by one. Once again, enter the names as they appear in the document, but make sure that you hyphenate the last names. So now I'm going to go ahead and click Add, and after I do that, as you can see, the name appears down here. So now I can go ahead and enter the next name. Let's say there's just one last name on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add. And here you can see the two names we've added. So we are going to keep adding the names of all of your committee members in the order that they appear in your document. So the next field is Graduate Representative, and in this field you're going to add the name of the representative from the Office of Graduate Studies who is present in your defense. And the next field is Date. Here you are going to enter the date when you submitted your final document to the Office of Graduate Studies. So I've gone ahead and entered December 4, 2020. So the next field is semester of graduation. I'm going to go ahead and open the menu and select the fall semester. And the next field is year of graduation, and I'm going to go ahead and enter 2020. The next field is abstract, and the best thing to do is to just copy and paste from your document to this box. However, first you should copy and paste the abstract to a TXT document. That's going to eliminate any formatting, and you can use Notepad for that. I'm going to go ahead and open Notepad. So I've already copied some text to Notepad. Let's say this is your abstract. Again, this is to eliminate any formatting, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this text that I have here. So I'm going to paste the text here in the box, and let's just say that's the English version of the abstract, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. And you can see the text of your abstract down here. So now we're going to do the same thing for the Spanish version of the abstract. So I'm going to open Notepad again, and I'm going to write something here. Let's say this is the Spanish version of the abstract. Obviously it's going to be a lot more text, and we're going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to paste the text to the box, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add. And you can see the Spanish version of the abstract down here. So the next field is college. You're just going to open the drop down menu, and you're going to select your college. So for this example, let's just say College of Engineering. The next field is department, so you just choose your department, and for this example, let's just say Department of Civil Engineering. The next field is degree level, so you're just going to choose the one that applies to you. For this example, let's say Master of Science, MS. And the next field is program. Again, choose the one that applies to you. For our example, let's say Civil Engineering. For language, you're just going to choose the language in which your document is written. Let's say English for this example. The type field is where you're going to indicate if your document is a thesis, dissertation, or project report. For this example, let's say thesis. And here in acknowledgement, you are only going to mention any government agencies or any entities that help fund your research. If you did not receive funding from any entity, then you should leave that one blank. So let's just leave that one blank for this example. The next field is keywords, and here you're going to enter words or terms that are descriptive of your study. The idea here is for other researchers to be able to locate your study. So you should try to think, what search terms would another person use to try to locate a study similar to mine? Your advisor can give you good ideas on what terms to include here. So as an example, let's just type in something here. And it is important to keep in mind that keywords don't have to be single words. They can be terms of 2 words or more, but you should only capitalize the very first letter. So I added urban infrastructure, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add. And you can see the first term here, so I can go ahead and add another one. A tip here is to add terms that are not included in your title. The reason is that terms that are included in your title are already going to be recovered by a search query that includes them. So the idea is to give people more ways to access your document. So we already have urban infrastructure. I'm going to go ahead and add another one. I'm going to say road maintenance, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add. So down here we have the 2 terms that we've added, and we can keep adding other ones. We can add up to 5 terms. And this is the last field on this page, copyrights holder. As the creator of your document, you have the copyright over that work. So here I've gone ahead and entered my name as the copyrights holder, and it is very important that you follow the format that you see here. Open parentheses, lowercase c, close parentheses, then the year, and then your full name. Once you have entered that information, you can go ahead and click Next. So now I'm on the second page of the submission form, and this is where we are going to upload the document. So I just clicked on the Choose File button, and as you can see, I have named my file according to the format required for submission. First, we have the 4-letter code for the program, an underscore, my 2 last names, and my initial, an underscore, and then the year. So I'm going to select a file, I'm going to click Open, and there we have it. The next field is file description, and for thesis, dissertations, and project reports, we're just going to leave that one blank. Next, we have the embargo field. I have the option of applying an embargo to my document for a specified period of time so that my document is not visible during that period of time. As established by the Office of Graduate Studies, the embargo can be for up to 2 years. And this is 2 years counting from the moment my document was approved by the Office of Graduate Studies. So I'm going to go to the embargo until specific date box, and this is where I'm going to enter the date when I want the embargo to conclude. This is going to be the date when the document will become visible. So let's just say that my document was approved on December 7th, 2020, and I want to apply the maximum embargo. So I'm going to go to the box, and I'm going to type in 2022, and then 12 for December, and then 07. And there we have it. If I apply an embargo to my document, I have to indicate the reason for that embargo. But applying an embargo is optional. And let's say in my case I don't want to do that. I want my document to be visible as soon as possible so people can access it and start sharing it. So I'm going to erase the date. I'm just going to leave the embargo fields blank, scroll down to the bottom of the page and click Next. So we're almost done. We're on the 3rd page, and on this page is where you can establish licenses to indicate how other people can use your work. In other words, here is where you can grant permission to the public to make certain uses of your work as long as they comply with the conditions you establish. So we're going to go here to License Type, and we're going to open the menu, and you're going to see 4 options. The first one is Public Domain, and this is the option that you would choose if you were depositing a work that was in the public domain. The second option is CC0, Creative Commons 0. This is the option to select if you want to give up all of the exclusive rights that you have as the creator of your work. The next option is Creative Commons, and we're going to look at that one with more detail. With this option, you can grant the public permission to use your work in certain specific ways, and you can establish conditions that will govern those uses. And the fourth option is No Creative Commons, and this is the option you would select if you wanted to retain all of your exclusive rights as the creator of the work. So let's take a closer look at Creative Commons, given that if you choose that option, you're going to have to select among a couple of alternatives. So I'm going to click on that. So we selected Creative Commons, and the specific Creative Commons license that will be applied will depend on your answers to the next 2 questions. The first question is whether you want to allow others to use your work for commercial purposes. As an example, I'm just going to say no, but in your case, it's your personal choice. And the second question is whether you want to allow the creation of derivative works. Here you have 3 options: yes, no, and share alike. If you choose share alike, what you are saying is that other people can create derivative works based on your document, but if they do, they have to license that derivative work under the same terms that you license your thesis, dissertation, or project report. In other words, that derivative work has to be shared under the same terms and conditions that you are sharing your thesis, dissertation, or project report. So for our example, I'm going to choose Share Alike, and I'm going to scroll down and click on Next. And we're on the last page. This is where you grant us permission to publish your work on Scholar at UPRM, and also to preserve your work so people can access it in the future. So you should read the terms of the distribution license. It is a very short document, and if you are in agreement with the terms, you should put a check mark here, and you can go ahead and click Next. The system is going to give you the chance to review your submission, so you should just scroll down and make sure that all the information you entered is correct. If you find out that you need to correct anything, you can just click here on correct one of these, and you can fix the information. You can also see the file you uploaded, so if you need to change the file or edit the file's name, you can click on the correct one of these button. And if everything looks good, you can just click on Complete Submission. And that is all. We want to congratulate you for completing the requirements for your degree, and we want to thank you for depositing your work in Scholar at UPRM. We want to remind you that we have an online guide that explains all of the steps you need to follow to submit your thesis, dissertation, or project report to Scholar at UPRM. You can access the guide by visiting the URL that appears on screen. And finally, if you need any help with the deposit process, you can write to us at the Graduate Research and Innovation Center.